everybody, welcome to another episode of the Basildon Council official podcast. My name's Kyle and I'll be your host, and joining us today is Councillor Terri Sargent, Cabinet Member for Communities. Councillor Sargent, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Carl. Thanks for inviting me.
That's okay, I'm glad to have you here. So, to kick things off, we like when we have councillors and politicians on here, we just like to take a moment to get to know them, to humanise them essentially, because members of the public might feel like there's sometimes a bit of a disconnect between themselves and politicians. So we just like to take a moment to scratch the surface a little bit and get to know you on a little bit of a personal level. So, Councillor Sargent, please tell us about yourself.
I was born in the East End of London many years ago, and I very much enjoyed my life there. We were all very poor, but we grew up the same. Everybody was much the same, going out, enjoying themselves. But one thing that I noticed as I got older was that nobody ever achieved. They never got any further than the ordinary, everyday lives of people. And I put that down to the fact that the politics wasn't making things work for the working class people. So when I moved to Basildon, that's when I kind of got into politics a bit more. As my children grew up and got offhand, I joined the Conservative Party, and I found that was the actual party that more or less met my needs, and it helped. I felt it really helped people to achieve and become what they really felt they wanted to do in life, to improve their life, their circumstances, start buying houses, getting on the ladder and the step ladder for that and all.
So would you say that was like the kind of main motivation if you wanted to get into politics, or was there anything else that made you pursue a political career?
Yes, when I joined the party and got involved with all of the people, and we did all the fundraising and all the campaigning, I felt that I too would be interested. And fortunately for me, this was around about 22 years ago, the Crouch Ward was created as a boundary change, and I was asked by the party if I wanted to stand in the Crouch Ward, and I was absolutely delighted. I was even more delighted when I actually won the election, and here I am, like 22 years later, still representing the Crouch Ward, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's fulfilled a lot of my ambitions that I had in life, to work with people and try to get them to have ambition and to go on to achieve and meet their own aspirations in life.
It sounds like you're very, very passionate about people making something of themselves, or aspiring for greatness, which is amazing to hear. Sometimes it feels like people may not necessarily have the motivation to do that because they think it might be hard, or they may not succeed. So saying that, it's nice to hear that they've got people like you in their corner giving them the support they need. So throughout your political career, is there anything that you're particularly proud of that you've done over the years?
Well, working my way up through the council chain has been amazing, because you start at the bottom as a backbencher, and then later on, when the Conservatives actually took control of the council, I started off in scrutiny and audit and risk, and then finally I was actually invited to become a cabinet member, and a cabinet member for communities, and I did that for some time. And it was through that role of communities where I was really able to get into the lives of our communities and represent our residents, not only as a politician but also in my role as the council through grant aid, helping people to achieve, become volunteers. So many things that I've done, working with our older people's activity clubs, all of young people, the youth council. There is so much to, you could spend all day talking about how we as a council act towards our communities is absolutely brilliant and fantastic. And I'm very proud of being a councillor in this borough.
I've seen firsthand how Basildon Council interacts with communities, and I feel like we really set a very good example of how local authorities should be engaging with different community groups across the borough. So, talking of communities, I'd like to branch out internationally now and just talk to you a bit about town twinning. So, I feel like it's a subject of maybe our listeners may not necessarily know about. So I would just like to ask you, why do we twin with towns? What does that mean for places like Basildon?
Well, the Basildon Borough Twinning Association, we've got a long established history of representing the borough in our twin areas, and I think that, once you do that and you get accustomed to it, and you get all the benefits of working with those twin towns, them visiting you and you visiting them, and it's something that communities can get involved in, which is most important, but also young people, because there's lots of sporting activity. Our young people have a group of footballers that go over there. They compete with their counterparts in Mow and Heineken House. And also those two areas, you've got Heineken House holds the Stadfest every year, and they're obviously our twinners, they go over and represent them, and there's the Christmas markets in Mow. So we are interacting with those and bringing away all the cultural exchanges that you'd expect of that kind of activity.
Yes, it sounds like there's a lot of benefits to town twinning as well. It's kind of like building relations, I guess, like getting to know other places, other cultures, people interact with those cultures. So imagine it's like a really nice way of getting to know other parts of the world a bit more.
You're absolutely right. It gives opportunity for other people, and particularly our young people, to get abroad, because some of them wouldn't have the opportunity to do so, and to know what and to learn about the cultures of those actual towns, and when they come here, to share in the British culture as well. Those conferences, their way of exchanging new ideas, getting on, because there's the business world as well as the sporting activities. There is so much attached to it, and what I must say is that we got, as a service level agreement, we support the Twinning Association with just £12,000 per year, but what we get back in kind is it doubles and trebles that. And I must give a shout out for the actual Twinning Association, Bob Sheridan and his crew. They're absolutely fantastic what they do for us as a borough, and they're volunteers, and they must be rewarded and complimented on doing what they do, and to give all of those people and the benefits of it, but also the achievements comes to Basildon and the Basildon Council, and that's what's most important.
Yeah, so I guess it's also, as well as maintaining relations with the communities here in our borough, it's also important to maintain relations with those communities overseas in those towns that you mentioned.
Absolutely, and that's the important thing. It's those youngsters making those friendships, and they could be friendships for a long, long time, and they could be that later on they'll go over and visit them, as they grow up and all the rest of it. So it's never ending, really. And I just think it's something that we as a council should be very proud of.
Yeah, completely agree. So what I'd like to move on to now, I'll just like to talk to you about volunteering. So as cabinet member for communities, I'm sure you do a lot of volunteering work. So I just want to ask you about the importance of volunteering and the reasons behind it. Why do you think people would want to get involved with volunteering?
When with most of us, people have got their all-day, everyday lives, whether you go to work, whether you're a housewife, house husband, whatever you do in life. I do believe that there is a limited amount of time that you can have and spare in doing something where it's completely for somebody else, and not, the achievements are yours, but you're supporting and helping other people and doing that for nothing, no monetary value at all attached to that. Just going out in your community or to the wider world, because there is so much volunteering opportunities today, whether it's in large organisations, it could be local, it could be anything, but the benefits that people get from it, because you've got people that are isolated, you've got people that haven't worked for a long time, or you've even got directors, solicitors that are very well overworked, but they give their time to helping our CVS. Look at the volunteers our CVS has got. The Basildon Community Transport Service, all run by and helped by volunteers, twinning, all of it, all volunteers. And without volunteers, the whole world, not just Basildon, but the whole country, the whole world, it wouldn't stand up, because the benefit that those people giving their time freely to serve their communities is absolutely beneficial. And that even comes in with councillors, really, because even though we all get an allowance, most of it is going out and mixing with people and trying to help them resolve their problems, help them get into different activities and offer them what this borough has to offer them that they may not well have known about otherwise.
Yeah, completely agree. So volunteers are clearly very important. There's no understating that. So I'd just like to ask you, as Cabinet for Communities, is there any volunteer projects that you're involved in?
Oh, I volunteered for, goodness knows, for a long, long time. When I moved to Basildon, I joined the school PTA, and I used to do all the fundraising, run all the dances and fetes and get involved. And that gave me a good steering for when I went on to do other volunteering. When I moved to, as I said, to Note Bridge, we didn't have a community facility, so obviously the activists in the community, including myself, got together and we set up a village hall. And once we got the hall, I joined the community association, which I now chair, and we run that facility as volunteers. We lease it off of Basildon Council because we've got 42 village halls and community centres around the borough. And as part of my volunteering, I help with a bunch of volunteers. We manage and maintain that building and the community that we serve.
You clearly sound very passionate about it. You must be proud as well must feel proud to have brought that into Note Bridge now that Village Hall, I imagine, brings all the residents of the village together, whether that be just like socialising or even like hosting events and stuff like that.
Oh no, absolutely. We've done all the fetes. I mean, since we've had a parish council, because I helped to set a parish council up. We very much use because I sit on the parish council. We very much use the village hall. I mean, for the Queen's coronation, the Queen's Jubilee, we got our own beacon, and that was for the whole community. We put that on the green, and we had a fantastic beacon lighting ceremony for the Queen. And then we've done the King's coronation. We had a big help out litter pick that we did on the coronation day. So, and that's just one of those things of getting the community together, because one of their pet hates is litter. So it's an excellent opportunity. And I was at a parish council meeting last night, and they've asked me when the next litter pick is. So I mean, that's it. It's not about leading the people. It's about being one of the people, serving with the people and doing those small things that make a difference to the whole community.
Yeah, giving back to the community that you call home as well. That must feel good.
Absolutely right. And the thing is, once you've got a good community and a good community spirit, then you will find that it isn't that difficult to get those people to come forward to do volunteering themselves, because we run a toddler group and that's all done by volunteers. We have a jiu-jitsu group that isn't volunteering, but it gives an opportunity to all our youngsters in the community to go to that class. It's a massive class, and to see them operate, and have fun, that's it. And I think this is what being a volunteer does. It just brings a different dynamic to your life and to other people's lives, so that you enjoy it better and you can help others. And I think that's my main take from my volunteering.
I'm sure there's bound to be loads of other people that agree with you as well. Well, I do believe that's a wrap. Councillor Sargent, thank you very much for joining us. How have you found your first podcasting experience?
Well, I found it quite an experience, Cole, and thank you so much for making me feel at ease, and I hope that everyone enjoys looking at it.
That means a lot. Thank you very much. And thank you to you for watching at home. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.